Oh.
Come
Yeah,
on,
that's
guy.
another thing. I've been making weird sounds this year. I don't know why. I think I'm getting old. Like I'll just be sitting there and I'm like, or like, like I don't know why I do
Just,
it.
just that statement makes you older than me.
I know. I just sigh, man. And even like by myself while I'm driving, first thing in the morning, there's nothing like waking up in the morning on a brand new day, just be like, like first thing in the morning, man.
Another one.
That's
Another
like that's
Oh.
like
day.
the theme music to my life.
Yeah. Time to make the donuts. That's what my wife and
Yeah.
I always say. Time to make.
Yep.
Actually, Jason, that's pretty
It's
literal for you.
it's
Yeah.
too close to home. It is way too close to home.
Hello, welcome back to the Zeus podcast. Tonight is a mystery numbered episode, and I think we're going to drop the numbers from the episodes from now on. Stop. Tonight is Mike's episode. He wants to talk about God and stuff. So, Mike,
Kind of. Yeah.
hand the reins over to you. Why don't you tell us what you want to talk about?
Good evening, everyone out in podcast land. How are you guys doing?
We're
That's when you
good.
say,
Wonderful.
"Oh, okay, you're good." Nice to see Dana. Nice to see Jason.
Hello.
Of course, Desiree and
Prayer's here
Zeus.
early, so see him.
Oh yeah, normally he comes on at like 11,
Yeah, at the
so
end.
that's nice.
Mhm.
So for tonight's episode, I've been wanting to kind of talk about this in general for a long time, but it's kind of hard to find a thread to pick up on to start the conversation because it's so broad. So what I've kind of settled on is the like ritual, souls, purpose of life, gratitude. Some would say religion would be the topic, but that's a little broad. So basically, the reason I kind of thought this would be a good episode is just one, it's super interesting. We've talked about everything else, and we've I don't know if we've been avoiding religion as a topic or what, or we just don't want to get into it, or it's that old adage like you don't talk about religion or politics, but we have like 128 episodes of politics, so I figured, hey, it'd be a good one. Maybe we can do one on religion. And what really made me think about it this time was and I'd sent you guys a copy of it, but it was just an interview with a guy named Nick Cave, and he was talking about
Nick Cave.
Nick Cave and the
Yeah,
Bad Seeds.
yeah,
Yep. And
yeah.
and he started out in the Birthday Party back in that was the band back in the 70s, kind of like screechy German punk. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Birthday Party.
Nah.
Pretty intense. Like everyone's goth, like in black and slicked hair and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, he was asked, hey, you've always been kind of this counterculture figure. Like how, you're still performing. Like how are you counterculture today, or do you still want to be, or whatever? And he said, I'm conservative and I go to church. Like that was his answer. And that kind of got me thinking, like, it's kind of interesting. I mean, for me personally, I was raised Catholic, got out of it, did stop going to church after I got confirmed. And then I started going again back in like, I don't know, 2000, I guess it was 2011, summer of 2011. I had a lot of crazy stuff going on, and I wasn't going like, oh man, I need to go to church to figure this stuff out. It was just a place to go for an hour where like everything else wasn't happening. You know
Was
what I
that
mean?
a
Like
period in your life where we won't talk about it, but where that thing happened?
before, it was actually before that.
Okay.
So, and I may get into that, but anyway, so, and now I go to church every week. It's for me personally, it's a lot about the ritual of it. In other words, for me, I like the idea of on Sunday, we get dressed, we do this, we go. It gives me time to like think about stuff. Sometimes I get a lot out of it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's enjoyable, sometimes it's not. But it's like the doing of it, right? And in almost any religion or kind of like spiritual journey or non-spiritual journey or whatever, there is this concept of ritual of always doing the same thing at the same time for whatever reason, almost like a meditative idea. So anyway, I just thought it'd be interesting to talk about this, and I came up with 4 questions which I sent to you guys, which I don't think anyone, maybe some people read it.
I read them.
But these are just kind of general ideas. And again, you guys can talk, when we go around, you guys can talk as much or as little as you want about your own personal, faith or non-faith or spiritual journey or what have you. But these 4 questions I thought were pretty easy to talk about, wherever you fall on the spectrum. The first one is where does, if at all, does ritual fit in your life? And this doesn't necessarily mean spiritual ritual. It could be whatever, again, meditation, however you want to put it. How do you rationalize the concept of souls? I mean, I think we all know, even if you're not raised in any sort of religious background, we all know what the concept of souls are. Like, do you believe that? Do you not believe that? Like, what is it to you? Also, what's the purpose of life? Just a small question, here on the Friends Zeus podcast. Purpose of life, or of your life, or life in general. And then, when do you feel gratitude? Because I feel like that gratitude, having gratitude, is something, at least for me personally, I didn't really have until later in life. Like, definitely not as a kid. Like, I don't ever remember feeling grateful until like not until like the middle of my life, probably.
For me, I was grateful for everything as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just like, what the fuck do I have to be thankful for?
Wow.
And I realize that's like very pessimistic. I'm sitting here complaining about all these other things in my life, but I got like a new job coming up. I got another thing that everybody else knows is going on. Like, I got great things going on, but I'm fucking beat. And it's probably because of all the ritual.
All the ritual? Yeah.
No.
A lot of ritual going on. That's some pretty good ritual too.
If I may, may I start with ritual?
Yeah, it's kind of a loose topic.
Like for me, I'm glad you generalized it to not be so much about religion, because for me, like, ritual, man, it's almost something that's, these days, it's almost like something that's forced on us. Like, go to your job, pay your bills. Maybe you get like 30 minutes to play a game on the computer or play with the kids or do things. But rituals are kind of like, it's not even our rituals anymore, unless you are like the guy that goes to church, or the guy or girl, or non-binary, that goes for a walk in Great Falls, or whatever, trails you have around you every day, whatever day of the week. Like, for me, that's like the ritual. Those are the things that I think like keep you sane. But man, I don't think a lot of us have those anymore. It's like, do your job, pay your bills, eat your food, go out and have a beer. I mean, you know what? Honestly, the best ritual for me, and I know there's only like 55 people that even pay the fuck attention to this, but the biggest ritual for me is this show.
Mm-hmm.
I am scared of us not having this show to do. It would make me really sad. It does so much for me. It's my one period in the week where I get to like set aside. For whatever reason, there's forces that would like to not have me doing this show, but for whatever reason, I am permitted to do this show, and thank fucking God, because it really keeps me sane. So as far as rituals, like, I'm not saying you guys are like God or anything, but like, this is one of the things that really keeps me like fucking going.
And that is a ritual, right? It's the same time, same bat channel, same place typically, although ironically tonight you're in a
That's
different
the new
place.
name of the show, Church of Pause.
I think it's important though to be able to discern between ritual and routine,
True.
because
Yeah.
it's two different things. And
I think this is a ritual.
I think the ability to discern, having discernment, is really important in that, because it can be convoluted, right? Like, a lot of people think, oh, it's a ritual that I do this every day. I go on this bus. That is a routine.
That's fair. That's fair.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think the
Good
show
distinction.
is a ritual. The show is a ritual. Like,
how would you?
Yeah, well, if you're getting like deeper meaning out of it on another level that's beyond like just providing, then yeah, of course it becomes a ritual.
Well,
and ritual also has symbolic.
I agree.
When
I explain the show, for me, like, I explain that maybe we're only giving out to like 50 people in the cosmos, but even if everything we say is nonsense and we're completely tangential, which never happened,
even if,
I still feel like we're putting something out there. And even if people look at us and go, those guys are idiots, and they go, we'll do the opposite what they say, we're still like putting something out there. And maybe it's just like purging it from our systems or whatever, but I really feel strongly about the show that like I love the fact that like we put stuff out, just little thoughts, very little thoughts, but we put something out there and give people at least, a watermark to maybe make their judgments up. I don't think many people make any judgments off of our show, but you get what I'm saying.
No, I get what you're saying, Zeus.
We're putting back out into the universe. We're not like consume. We actually give a little bit of ourselves with each episode and put it out there. So yeah, I think that's where ritual comes in.
I also think what you get out of it, being in the podcast, is more importantly the ritualistic piece, because what you get out of doing the podcast and participating in it and showing up every week, it's more personal. A ritual is more
very
personal. So it's not so much, for me anyway, it's just my slant on it, not so much what you're putting out, but what you're getting from it.
Well, and you're not on all the time, Dana, but you listen to a lot of the episodes, right?
Yes.
There's something here. Like, if we could fine tune things, I think we got a great show. I think that we're just not marketing ourselves at all. Like,
back to the topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to the topic.
Tangent alert.
Thank you, Desiree.
So, but Dana, so what, I mean, because I think that's a fantastic distinction between routine and ritual. Like, so what's like another defining difference, would you say? So rituals.
I think that rituals include sacredness, they include symbol, they include a faith or a belief system. They also include what's the other word I was just thinking? You have to bear with me, because
that's
like a postmenopausal brain. I can't get words out sometimes.
But no, I mean, it's a great distinction. I hadn't, but yeah, I agree. I think you're 100%.
And there's a purpose. There's a higher purpose to it.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Going to work is not a ritual. That's a routine. But how about like
routine?
If you guys or anyone is like avid exerciser, like a runner, or is that
becomes
I know
routine
runners
as well.
But I know some runners that, like, I don't know, it almost is a ritual. People that weightlift.
I hear what you're saying. They're finding some kind of connection, but it really doesn't answer to the other pieces of what a ritual is a little bit more higher up. A meditation does go into ritual because there's space. Running could, because walking meditations, running could be a meditation as well. But I think that there's a spiritual piece involved, not always, in rituals. There's symbol, there's it's not just something you do all the time.
Right.
Right.
And you choose to do it.
Yes.
And
but,
you choose to do it.
To addend to what Dana's saying, like I used to be a runner, and there is like this high, it's very much more a chemical thing. It's almost an addiction to a certain degree. Like when I was running, it was all the time. How much faster can I be? Can I shave off 5 seconds? Blah, blah, blah. It's not, I don't think that it's a ritual. I think it's routine, bordering on like the high that you get from it could emulate ritual, but like, you know, when I do think that it's ritual is like alcoholics. Like a lot of alcoholics, one of the things, like with alcoholism, one of the things they say is find a good addiction. And a lot of addicts turn towards working out because it gives them that same endorphin thing. And it does become their God. Like my mom, who drank for years, she started working out when she needed to stop to be a good nurse and to continue what she was doing. But that maybe is where it could become ritual. Like, I got to do this. This is my God, whatever. Well, but I think mostly like those things, like the physical things are going to be far more routine. It's when like you're putting a little bit of your heart into something, like maybe artwork.
There's a devotion in a ritual.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's when I think it becomes a ritual. Like this show,
I
love this show. I listen every episode. But seriously, like it is more to me than just what we do every week. Sometimes we phone it in, but even when we phone it in, we're like having fun. We're like talking, some little tidbit of fucking wisdom comes out. That's the devotion part. Like I'm devoted to the show. I want to see us do 1,000 episodes. You know what I mean? I never want to see it stop.
Tonight.
Anyway, I'm fucking.
We're just going to keep going. Well, let's jump around. Jason, Jack, Desiree, what do you guys, I mean, here, and just to put to bring it a little bit back to center, the whole thing with ritual, why I put this on the list is myself personally, different times in my life where I'm like, I'm not really religious, but I'm spiritual, right? But you almost need the ritual to go with the spiritual part of it, or maybe not. I don't know. But I mean, I
think it makes the spiritual part easier to digest. Like if you do these things every week, it's easier to get accustomed to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm saying that's where the question came from.
I think rituals also provide the connection that you're seeking when you're participating in your spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
Communion with other people, or like having other people, I think is important. But anyway, Jason, what about? I know. What's up? What do you?
You look like Jesus. Do you have some Jesus kind of statements?
Yes.
Jesus statements. Yeah. And ye shall all perish in fire and suffer for all eternity.
Yes.
I love the distinction between ritual and routine. Yeah, it's a externalization of something. It's an appeal to something that is beyond our physical, our immediate sensory perceptions of the world around us. We're kind of extending ourselves into outward from our own subjective minds and interpretations, and almost appealing to a higher power, whether or not we perceive it as such.
It's cosmic.
Right? Yeah. I mean, even something as simple as saying grace before meals. Like I used to be, very avidly atheistic. I wouldn't, if I was at a friend's house, I'm just going to sit there in silence. I'm not going to be disrespectful, but I'm not going to say grace.
Mm-hmm.
I would have no problem doing that now, still being atheistic,
mm-hmm.
Because there is a communion there with, if with nothing else, and with one another. And appreciation. It ties to what you're getting towards it with gratitude. And you can connect to something. It's another form of just connection. So whereas routine is just mechanistic, right? We're just following through. It's the coding that we're following. It's our internal chat GPT to get the answers and get us through our day.
Time to make the donuts.
Time to make the donuts. Exactly.
Sometimes it does feel like we're part of the Matrix. I'm sorry. I said sometimes it does feel like you're part of the Matrix. Like if we were to wake up and be batteries, I wouldn't be surprised either. You know what I mean?
Profound.
Yeah. What about you?
Sounds
Desiree?
like you don't have you lack in some gratitude over there, Zeus.
Oh, my gratitude is at nil.
I hear that between the lines.
It really should be higher because I've had some great weeks, but fucking just fuck you, world. I'm just a little bit.
Yeah, man.
Wow. So wait, so this was a bad week, Zeus, for us to talk about gratitudes and like faith, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, but before you were gonna say that, I was gonna say I realize that I have things that I should be happy about. Like, again, the new job and other things. I have things, but maybe it's like a karma credit system or something. Like, it ain't caught up yet. Like, I'm still way in the red. I need to get into the black before I start feeling really great. Like, I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop again. But anyway,
I think you can be a billionaire and lack gratitude. I don't think it's connected to like your auspicious, external variables. I just don't. I mean, the poorest people in the world, when I went on a medical mission, were the most grateful people I ever met, and they had nothing. They didn't even have running water, no electricity.
And don't get me wrong, like there's little bits and pieces right now in my life that I'm really I am grateful for. I've got the capacity for gratitude, but I got like this on the back burner. When's this gonna go fucking south? You know what I mean? But I think I for those of you that know me, I think I got the capability to work through that, and I'll get to a better place. But right now I'm just a little shady. But anyway, let's keep going. I didn't mean to sidetrack the show.
No, you're good, dude.
Okay.
How about you, Desiree? As far as gratitude, ritual, routine, what's your feels?
I mean, I don't have any feels.
No feels?
Feels. No feels. Zero feels.
I got all the Stanley Cups.
I just have one.
What's the purpose of life?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying that to put you on the spot.
To live,
I'm saying,
to exist, to exchange oxygen into carbon dioxide. I don't know.
But I'm saying that's the question that leads, that's the question that leads to more questions. I mean, that's what I'm saying. And if, at least personally in my life, I was in such a routine that I was just on the wheel, right? And then when you start at a certain point, and I think people do throughout their lives, it's not always like a eureka moment, but when you start thinking about this stuff, it starts branching out into other things, and it's I don't profess to have any answers. To me, it's I like the questions, and I didn't expect to get as much out of it as I have, which is really just more of
what, life?
Of thinking about this stuff. Again, my gratitude has gone up greatly. I mean, and I think gratitude comes with perspective comes with gratitude, right? When you get certain perspective on things, it pretty much forces you to have gratitude sometimes.
I don't know. See, because I have a lot of perspective on things.
Yeah.
That's probably all I got. And I'm not saying I'm an ungrateful person. I'm just not. I don't know. I mean, I'm grateful for everything that I have, and I understand that, nothing was given to me, and I've earned things, and I'm grateful for the fact that I did have to earn everything that I have, because that, makes material things valuable to me, on a different level. But mean, I don't really know. What else is I don't know.
Can you
I
be,
don't know. I don't know.
Can you be purely materialistic? Can you be purely materialistic, accept determinism as the base of reality and existence, and be ritualistic? Is ritual reserved only for the domain of the religious and spiritual, or at least spiritual in the context of religion?
I don't think so. No, I mean, religion is sort of like this framework. Religion is from humans, right? It's a structure developed by people to, I think, in my own opinion, to make sense of and deal with all these questions. I don't think you have to be part of an organized religion necessarily to have ritual. I mean, by any stretch of the imagination. I think it helps. I mean, it's like, I can also, lose weight and get ripped and be like a bodybuilder just by myself. Or I could go to a gym where there's trainers and like other people to get advice from. I mean, that's kind of the way I think about it. But
okay, so let's say you have some sort of like scientific nihilist artist who always insists on taking off his shoes before painting something. He's got to paint barefoot, and that's he refers to it. It's his ritual. Like, what's he doing there? Is that just a routine, or like, do you think that there's something presuppositional in his?
He may feel more grounded.
He's not acknowledging, or
maybe he's picking up on certain energy coming out of the ground. I don't know.
Possible.
It's good to spend time walking around without shoes on outside every once in a while. I know that. Yes.
Earthing.
That's
but Jason, I don't know. And again, I think it's for that person to answer. To me, here's the thing that I can't understand is if someone's like, I never think about death or why we're here or what the purpose of life is. Like, if someone's like, I never think about that, I'm like, wow, like, really? Like, how can you never think about that? I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I think about it all the time since I was a kid, more now than then. But
I don't know. I don't really think about it.
Never?
And that's not really. I don't really ever wonder why we're here. We're here because organisms mate with each other and they produce offspring. I mean,
that's true. So it's
not like a groundbreaking thought. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Does in the amount of time that you've been on the show, you're not probably the more existential of our group. You're far more like super pragmatic. Like, here's the facts, here's the answers. And that's one of the things I love about you. Like how many times I called you and just bitching about my shit, and you're like,
well, Desiree gets those calls too.
I'm not immune.
I did not know that.
Okay. I spread the love.
Okay, cool.
But there's a pragmatism to her, and I would say, would you say you're atheist, Des, or?
No, I wouldn't say I mean, I guess if you want to call me that.
What would you say though?
I don't know. What's the difference between atheist and agnostic? I don't even know.
Like, agnostic is more like believing in a higher power, but you're not going to give it a name, and you're just going to be like.
Agnostics don't believe in a higher power.
Mm-hmm. It's nothing.
It's either there's really two distinctions. One is either an older version where people they don't think they don't think we're able to understand a higher power. And then there's sort of the wishy-washy, I don't really know. That's kind of you run into that a lot. I like to say an agnostic is a person who's afraid of the word atheist. Just in a derisive.
I like that.
That makes sense.
I'm not afraid of the word. I just don't know what they mean. So whichever one you want to say, I don't know.
And then atheist kind of has two different. There's sort of an academic one where there's, I believe there is no God. And then there's a more widespread general view, which is just, I just don't have a belief in God.
Does that necessarily mean that you don't have a belief in like a cosmic force that keeps us going, or you just
because then it's sort of anti-dogmatic. So I mean, it doesn't exclude the possibility. It just says you have to present the case with substantial evidence in order to either verify or falsify the claim.
So, Mike, do you want to move on? I'm not. I think we've discussed.
No, we can. But I want to hear from Jack too.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, jeez.
Here we go. Just a dive in, man.
No, it's funny because I heard Zeus talking about how he is having a rough go of it lately, and how it makes him forget what he's grateful for. And I can relate to that because, everybody has bad weeks. Like I'm having kind of a not very great week. And you do sort of lose sight of it. But then as long as you can kind of see and feel and experience those things in your life that you truly are grateful for, it's going to remind you real quick. I mean, like it's easy, for me to remember what I'm grateful for when I've got, a great family and beautiful children, and I'm lucky to have a job, and I'm lucky to pay my bills. And
don't forget the girl to your left.
Well, that's what I said. I got to, I've got, yeah. So I can see where Zeus sometimes has struggles with it, but I would just think all you got to do is sort of look around you and be mindful of this fact that you're not entitled to a goddamn thing in this
Not
world.
at all. And that's I think why I maintain like the.
Well, sure, that's how we all do, right? Because otherwise you become the hamster in the wheel that Mike was talking about, where you're just doing the routines without any connection to something else. And that's obvious. That's said with the idea that people can believe whatever they want to believe. Like if Desiree doesn't ever question this stuff, then God bless her. I mean, sometimes I wish I didn't, you know what I mean? Because when you start going down these rabbit holes, you don't stop. And
it's scary.
Right. It can be scary. I mean, it really can. It could drive you nuts. But, at the same time, I can see, like Jason posed the question, can somebody be truly in the material realm completely in their perception? And Des says she can, so I have to just take her at her word that these things never come into her mind. Until she said that, I find that in most people kind of hard to believe, because what do when you lose someone that's close to you, let's say, does it not cross someone's mind that, that they're on another level, that they still exist? Or does it, I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine never contemplating it, at least in my life.
But you have been raised Catholic.
No. As far as the background goes, I know Mike mentioned it. I was also, born into a Catholic family, raised Catholic. I remember having my doubts.
But Catholic.
No, but I remember having my doubts early on in my life. But at the same time, I liked sort of the elements of the afterlife, and angels, and being rewarded for being a good person, like that was appealing to me. And then as I got older, all of the ritual, like ritual is this word that's been discussed. I frankly found it to be silly, and then began to find it really funny. And that's when I sort of stopped going, because I was like, if this is dumb to me, why am I doing it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I think it's Monty Python and guys in drag, then why? And it's making me chuckle in the pew where I'm kneeling. Why do I keep doing it?
Is that like when they say, "May peace be with you"?
Yeah, they sing, and that's another thing that made me giggle, because they don't sing well.
Yeah, it's not. There's some churches that are definitely have better songs.
So I
like,
kind of,
you know what? If I was going to church, like a Christian church, I would totally go like Southern Baptist, Episcopalian, where they're like, amen.
Yeah, but see, I would find that I would probably find that funny too.
No, I'd love that.
But Mike, as far as
yes.
I gotta say, I don't think I ever completely lost my faith in those dogmas or those belief systems that, you know, like I said, I mentioned the idea of being created by a higher power, higher purpose. Of course, having an afterlife of any kind, assuming it's not, you know, the fires of hell and brimstone and all that,
right.
which would be terrible.
Well, it's very comforting to like go, I can fuck everything up, but if I walk through these doors and Buddy Jesus gives me the okay,
right, so get out of jail free card. Yeah,
I can fucking murder, rape, destroy, pummel, whatever. But as long as I acknowledge the existence and apologize, which is what repentance really is, then everything's fine.
Yeah, no, I don't think as far as I don't think that's entirely true. I don't think just saying
not true.
No, I don't think you can just say I'm sorry and
I don't think it works that way.
No, it doesn't work that way. But anyway, Mike, I just like I said, I never completely lost my faith, and it's gotten stronger as I've gotten older, especially since I've had children. You know, and maybe that's me being, you know, not, you know, maybe that's me being silly, but I know that I believe even more now, certainly more now than I did say when I was in my 30s, 20s, you know, maybe by 30s going, and maybe it was just going back to the ritual. My children were baptized. I went to their, you know, their communion. You kind of get roped back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my story.
Des will back me up on this. Not Des, I'm sorry. Dana will back me up on this. Have you had the patient that is like talking to God, like talking to God?
And I was a pediatric hospice nurse, so there was a lot of talking to God.
Yeah. So you know where I'm coming from, well, I have this one patient in every other aspect, she's cool. Like, but then
you're talking about the mentally ill.
Yes.
That's different.
That's actually that's a symptom called religious preoccupation, and they're internally preoccupied. But that's really not what we're talking about.
Well, but my point is every other aspect of her existence on the unit, she's fucking golden. She's a good patient. She takes her meds, and then I go, you know, the assessment in psych nursing, there's 4 questions that you ask every patient. Are you seeing or hearing anything that I cannot see or hear?
Have you watched the Friends of Zeus podcast?
And 5 questions.
Oh yeah.
And then are you having thoughts of harming yourself or others? But the important one there is are you seeing or hearing things that I wouldn't hear or see? And with this girl, everything else is fine. But when I ask her, are you seeing or hearing anything that I wouldn't hear? She's like, pause. No, everything's fine. Like she knows the drill. She knows what's going to get her out of the hospital. Or
get her in.
but there's like this little part of me that goes, what if she really is talking to that higher power, and I'm just disavowing it because she's on a behavioral health unit? It's kind of like a 13 monkeys kind of thing. It's like
12 monkeys.
13.
Oh,
asshole.
Plus 12 monkeys.
No, but it's 13. Oh.
Well,
is it 12? Okay,
12.
Whatever.
Jesus
Christ. Stop it, Mr. Hand. But she is but otherwise she's like very normal. But if you start to broach that, what are you seeing and hearing that I'm not seeing or hearing? She goes like in psych nursing, Dana will know what I'm talking about. We call it thought blocking, which is probably what she's doing. But I don't know what thought blocking really is. I think it's just them sitting really thinking about what they're going to say.
Here's the thing. I'm just thinking about this right now, so I want to say it. But the thing with me personally that interests me a lot is people that I've known in my life who call it spiritual, call it, devoutly religious, or somewhere, who are really into it. They for the most part seem to be like the happiest people that I've known. Like, this is totally anecdotal. I used to project at a Jewish community center, like film.
The projection stories.
I know. Anyway, so I really got to know a lot of Jewish people. I had a rabbi as a teacher one time. Rabbis are freaking awesome, man.
Star Wars stories are we gonna have to hear?
I'm just saying, if you ever get a chance to just sit down, like if you're on a plane and you can talk to a rabbi, they are some interesting cats, man. I mean, they're some interesting people.
I agree. I got close to one once, and I was having very, very interesting conversations with him about the Kabbalah, and
they just seem very centered.
Blew my mind.
They seem very centered, and I look at and my mom will like this because hopefully she may watch this. She watches some of our episodes, which every time Zeus lets out a fuck, I'm just like, God. Anyway.
Sorry, Mom.
Anyway, it's cool. But I look at someone like her. Now, this is a person who had she grew up in rural Eastern Shore, Maryland. When she was a kid, like 5-6 years old, she has memories of being at her grandmother's house. And like if there's a thunderstorm, her grandmother, like lightning and all that, her grandmother would make her get on her knees, right, and pray along with my great grandmother, until the bad weather passed, right? So that's like her get-go. I think they were Methodist. I don't think they definitely weren't Catholic. Anyway, and so she was raised Methodist and then became Episcopalian, and then she became Catholic when she married my dad because he's Irish Catholic. Anyway, so she went through this 2 different conversions of faith. She goes to mass every week, has ever since I can possibly remember. Like, if we're on vacation, she would go. She's not preachy about it at all. Like, she never will talk about it unless you bring it up. She was a lector for many years, and she is one of they do the readings. No, they do the readings. My point is, she is an incredibly strong person. Like, she has gone through some stuff and she just goes through it, man. She's just a strong personality, strong individual. She's like 5 feet tall, so it's funny saying how strong she is. But so that's my example. I'm like, this person, for whatever, they've been through this journey on their life, and she's been able to weather a lot. And I've seen other people and had other friends that, again, not so much. That's just my own personal experience. So that's what kind of, when I was in my, say, 30s or whatever, it started kind of piquing my interest again a little bit. I was just like, am I just drifting on the winds here, like completely untethered to anything? Like, I'll figure it out. We have tens of thousands of years of human history, and I'm just going to ignore that because it's the 90s. I'll figure it out.
If I may, Jason, your family is like Catholic, right?
Yep.
So you're being so like anti-religion. How has that been in your life? Like, did you go through a period where you were like, sure, Grace, fucking kneel on the pew, fold out the thing that you put
fucking your Grace.
May peace be with you.
But I like
fucking kneeling.
At what point, Jason, did you go, all right, I'm fucking done?
Geez, that was I think I was 30 when I said I was done.
Wow, that's a long time, Jason.
That's a long time.
I was 7.
Wow.
She was 7.
I was 7 when I was done. with the Catholic Church in general.
Yeah.
Well, done.
I was done with Catholicism way before that, but I was still sort of vaguely, generally wavering in out of Christianity and Buddhism. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was making a sort of I was desperate to believe. I really wanted that. I was having just a major existential crisis. And I wanted to
anger towards religion now,
and I don't have anger towards religion. Like I said, I've softened a lot towards it. I won't say what I said earlier, but at the time, I was really looking. I wanted evidence. That's what I wanted. I didn't want dogma. I didn't want rules. I didn't want to just be threatened. I wanted to know
stone with something etched in
it. Anything like what are the best arguments? And I don't know how familiar you all are with apologetics, but actually, right before that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try the thing that I never tried before. Is I'm just going to believe. I'm just going to believe. I'm going to shut down my mind. I'm going to turn off I'm going to do 100% faith. And I'm just diving in. I made it about 2 days.
Wow. Yeah.
A question would crop up and I go, nope, I'm just going to believe. I'm just going to believe. I'm going to believe and it's going to come and I'm going to get the revelation.
And then like a tsunami kills like 200,000 people in fucking Indonesia. And you're like, no.
Yeah, not that. No, I was like, okay, no, I that's not going to work for me. So I need evidence, and turned to the internet and found this guy giving a lecture on some random dude I'd never heard of on the I think it was the top 6 arguments for God, and it like blew my mind. His name is William Lane Craig. He's still rolling today. He's still considered one of the best debaters of the age, and but it really actually was kind of like a tsunami. It was argument 1 and argument 2. And if you never heard them before, the way that they come, it's just kind of overwhelming. But it's also these are sort of philosophical arguments.
Yeah.
They're logical. And just letting it sit there and saturate over the next day. I was trying to remember what they are, and I'm like, it doesn't. There's things there that don't feel right, and like I had to go. Okay, I need to go find that same lecture. Looked it up again, couldn't find it, but I found him in a debate with a person named Christopher Hitchens.
Oh yeah,
and I wouldn't say that was like I was still very much on his side at that time, but that's what sent me down what became the sort of new atheist
Hitchens,
rabbit hole, and all of the people associated with that. So I'd say more recently, lectures by Jordan Peterson it's been interesting to watch him sort of struggle with his beliefs as things have gone up and down in his life, because he seems very much to also want to believe this, and he's always trying to talk about the value of religion and its organization for humanity and values and ethics, but he doesn't seem quite capable of intellectually convincing himself in any specific definition of God or what that really is. It's always with him highly intellectual, and he's just like, well, there's some sort of pragmatic aspects to it. So I think I kind of fit there also. He's sort of helped soften me towards the ritual of it and how human beings have organized themselves historically around the things that they value. So I'm still very much against any dogmatism and certainly conjecture on what the metaphysics really are, even if God really is and how you define that. But at this point I'll just sort of stutter off into vague word salad because I don't have any way to tie that together.
Great, Jason.
Yeah, I think that was
so. Mike, like
cool.
like your story, when you were saying that lady, or who was she?
My mom.
Your mom, that lady who we don't know who she is.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
That is so like, grounded and, able to get through things because she's connected to.
It could be because of that. I'm just saying, I've seen people in my personal experience, people that, whatever their religion is, people that have a spirituality, that work on it, that have these, tend to be very centered people to me. I mean, in my own personal experience, it just seems that maybe it's coincidental, I don't know.
I feel like a lot of because I've weathered a lot of shit. I've gone through a lot of terrible things in my life, and I'm not saying I'm like the worst person out there, what was me, but I mean, like I've had to endure a lot of hard things, and I mean, I didn't get through it with religion. I got through it through working through it in my own head and like talking about things and whatever. But so I don't know, a lot of times religious people to me are kind of almost like they're very I don't want to say passive, that's not really the word I'm looking for, but they're more like, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, okay, when bad things are happening, instead of like facing it head on and like, what, God will take care of it. No, God is not going to fix this shit for you. Like, fix your shit. But so that's been my experience with that. And then I had a very near death experience when I was about 14. And I, looking back on it, I'm like, if I was ever going to be believing in a God, that would have been it. Because I mean, in a split second, like I saw my life flat, like that literally does happen. That part about it, where your life flashes before your eyes.
Wow.
But then I never.
Like what was the? I mean, feel comfortable with it.
A boyfriend that I had took a gun to my head and pulled the trigger.
Jesus.
It wasn't a loaded weapon. Obviously, I'm not dead. I mean, it could have been. Who knows? And maybe the gun just jammed. I don't really know.
Not even here.
You
maybe
were 14?
Maybe I'm actually dead.
You were 14? Jesus, Desiree.
So, and
Desiree's a badass, if you haven't realized that by now.
I know.
So, I mean, just little things like that. I mean, little things like that.
Little things like that.
Little things like a
handful of stuff like in that realm, that stuff that I've gone through. So I've always asked myself, not why I'm here, but if there was a God, why does all this bad shit happen to me?
Right.
So that's kind of where I've always been with that. But I'm not saying bad everyday shit. I'm saying bad stuff.
Yeah. Well, what some people may say.
College,
yeah.
When I was in college, I took a class entitled Magic, Witchcraft, and Religion. I was like, yeah, this is going to be fun. Turns out there was no actual magic or witchcraft in it. It was all religion.
Wow.
But it was a class about like all like world religions and how they kind of, do things. But the very first sentence that the instructor said in that class was, religion was created in society to create order.
Yeah.
I was like, what? That's like the best sentence to describe it that I've ever heard. And so it's created by somebody in a society to create order.
Yeah.
Just like, you lie to your kids to make them mine,
The opium of the masses. Yeah.
Yeah. Jason will totally decimate me if I'm wrong with this, but essentially religion was like for the rich people at the times that they came out. And there was like, on the Christian side, there was St. Aquinas, or they called him St. Augustine. And on the Muslim side, there was Ibn Rushdi, and he was also called Al-Farabi. I might have that backwards, but essentially, they were philosophers. And what philosophy did for religion was like, religion was all for the rich, and then philosophy made it more palatable to the lesser people, like the people that didn't have the ability to read or could read very little. And I feel like that's maybe the turning point where things got a little screwy, because now you could deliver it to the masses, but you still, the rich that were delivering it to the masses through Ibn Rushdi or St. Augustine, you still had this like control. You could still deliver it in the fashion that you wanted to and give them the answers that they wanted to their whatever problems. But I really feel like, I mean, that's where I really start to question religion. Is it just like this social contagion that
it's a social containment
that was delivered in a fashion through philosophy, which is great. I love philosophy, but it was delivered in this fashion that made it easier for us little people, the plebeians, proletariat, I always get them screwed up, but the little people, to digest this concept that there's this purple spaghetti monster up in the sky that puts everything in order, and you just got to like thank them every once in a while and fucking apologize for stuff that you weren't going to not do anyway. You're basically doing the shit that you're going to do and then just going, oh, so sorry. But to what Des was saying, it's like there is something to be said for where religion was delivered to us and how we accept it and how we digest it. And I think a lot of it has to do with these translators in between, the St. Augustines and the Ibn Rushdis, that go, there's a guy upstairs and he is totally in control, and you just got to do what he says, and we wrote it for you, so everything's cool.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think, well, a couple of things on that. As far as, if people try to find wisdom or order in those in power, and those in power are suggesting something beyond even them, that's personal to everybody, and
but you can only access them through those people in power. That's where it gets bothersome.
Well, I know that religion had was a big reason, as far as the increase in how literary society was, and poor people. I mean, that's why they've been printing Bibles since way back in the day. So I guess I just maybe my issue with it is that I don't have an issue with the idea that religion creates order, because I'm not sure what the alternative to order would look like, but it's probably not good. And if religion is basically there to keep everybody sort of respectful of each other, whether that's for God or whether that's the order from God, whether it's the Ten Commandments or the Golden
Rule. It's just
Rule.
a really good rule book on how you should treat people.
Well, exactly.
Right, but
why
don't you just not be an asshole because you shouldn't do it, not because God says so.
Well, no, even if you just believe, that there's something beyond the material in each of us, then maybe that would get you to be more respectful. And maybe that's the problem with today's secularism, is that more people are assholes to each other. At least there was more order, it seems like, before. And things seem to be getting more chaotic by the day. Now, so maybe religion being the prescription for order, if that's the case, then what direction are we going into without it?
And that's so valid.
It doesn't look good.
But
I mean, that's a valid argument, but I mean,
but is it a reality, which is not religion? I remember reading a study not too long ago about atheists versus the religious people, and they found that over the course of the study, and that it was showing up that people that were atheists were just as, if not more, altruistic and generous. And
absolutely.
Yes. Right. So it had nothing to do with religious.
Well, that's the thing too. Like where
we spiritual or
whatever. Where we
sorry.
It's a moral compass.
One of the things that like keeps me going with being a fuck you, Jack, being a psych nurse.
Thank you.
is that like
you see he's still doing it, Jason.
Yeah, I know. 129 episodes.
But Dano back me up on this is that like
bring it out.
Nobody wants to wake up and be fucking completely bonkers. You know what I mean?
What does that have to do with what we're talking about, though?
Wow.
No, explain it. It's all right.
Yeah, it's a question.
For me, it's like every time that I hear any crazy story, I take it as the gospel from the patient. And then I have to, like, go back and take a step back and go, yeah, that's completely bonkers. But the point being is that I don't know where I was going with this. I just feel like nobody wants to be crazy. Nobody wants to be sane. Nobody wants to be anything. We just want to like peacefully coexist. And there's like these things coming from every side that are constantly causing us to question what's going on.
Are you trying to create an argument for the order created or imposed by religion, or?
I think, religion is. I look at religion now anymore. I used to be more kind of like my God, my body is my temple. That's how I'll deal with God. But
we know that ain't true.
What? What'd you say?
I said that ain't true.
No, but more my aspect on anything now is like just I look at the people in my community that I work with, and they can't possibly want the chaos that is going on in their heads. And I truly believe that they are sick. Now, but then again, you can go with Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc was most likely schizophrenic. She was hearing voices from God and all this. But
what if a schizophrenic wrote the Bible?
That's some pretty deep shit right there.
I think it's way more than one person.
Yeah, it's more than one.
More than one schizo?
It's a bunch of schizos.
Probably
over hundreds and hundreds of years.
I mean, I don't know.
Maybe more than one schizophrenic person was saying, if you look at every fucking Muhammad went off into the desert. He sat on top of a pillar for like.
Zeus.
He had his ascension.
Zeus, I'm going to save your life. I would stick with the mocking of Judeo-Christianity for now.
I'm done.
Well,
you guys move on.
No, I mean the thing is, it's interesting. I mean, because I've thought about this myself, but again, there is a difference, at least in my mind, of organized religion. Right, Roman Catholicism, Judaism, Buddhism, Islam, whatever.
Buddhism is a philosophy.
It's more
categorized. Yes, it's not a religion.
Yeah, it's more like you can apply it to whatever religion.
But what I'm saying, there's still like a text. There's things that are said, right? I mean, it's not. Anyway, there is an organization to it.
Yes.
Okay, but I'm saying there's a difference between that and kind of what we started talking about with like ritual, like what is the purpose of life, like the concept of souls. I mean, you don't have to agree with the Pope to have questions about like, man, like what's the difference between me when I'm alive and me when I'm dead? Or like, I just saw this bird die.
I would say the distance between
difference?
Your parts.
Right. I would say that the fact that your heart's beating and then
at one moment. But I'm just saying, but still, it's sort of like you look at. Did you guys look at the images? Have you been looking at the images that came back from like the Webb space telescope? that have just totally like, basically the Webb Space Telescope, it went up, I think in 21, I think. And just started getting,
I was distracted by COVID
last summer. And basically, so the universe is, we estimate 1.8 billion years old. Is that
13?
What?
13.8. 13.8.
13.8.
Oh,
and
that's far off.
And the Webb can see like 13.5 billion light years. So, and you start to think like, and these images that are coming back, it's like this huge screen, huge image, and it's got all these little pin dots. Each one's a galaxy, and I'm listening to this guy talk about it, and he's like, that image, like this piece of paper that's got hundreds of thousands of galaxies on it. If you take a grain of sand and hold it up to the evening sky, that's the amount of area that this picture is covering out of the sky. And I'm like, there's a lot we don't know. There's a hell of a lot more we don't know than we do know. And call it a higher power, call it whatever.
But how does all the galaxies being
how's that relate back to this?
Relate back to a higher power?
Because it's hard for me to just look at all that and be like, I'm just dead and gone. And maybe I'm not saying that there's an afterlife, but I'm just saying there's more to life than McDonald's and going to work, right? I mean, it's a huge, we are living in this enormous whatever, and to be like, okay, well, I'm on Earth. I've never been off of Earth before, but I've got this global understanding of how everything was made and why we're here. I mean, I just think that's a lot of hubris. I mean, and that's the question I go around and around in. I don't know that the answer is at the church on Sunday, but I know, like, when I go there, I think about this stuff because it's the only time during the week where I have got like time where my phone's not ringing and somebody's talking about something that's not football or, something like that. So to me, I like having that time kind of set aside. And it could be for Zeus, it's like coming on this podcast. For other people, they may do meditation. I do meditation too, but we've talked about so many topics and we never talked about this. And I just thought it was a glaring omission. That's why I wanted to just talk about it. Not trying to convince anyone, because I don't even know for myself. Like I question stuff all the time. Like I'm like, this is ridiculous. And other times I'm like, snap out of it. Who knows? Whatever. It's just an interesting topic to me.
So what do you think souls go after you die?
What?
What do you think about souls? Like you were talking about souls
and... I do believe in energy continuing on after death because I believe in ghosts.
Well, energy can only be,
I know. I'm not here
created or transferred. It can never be destroyed.
I'm just saying that. So to me, I'm like, I can't be like, yeah, I don't believe in this. Me personally, that's just it. When I do believe in ghosts, for lack of a better word, and I know Jack does. So
yes.
So anyway, I mean, but yeah, it troubles me. Like I don't know. And if I'm busy doing something else, I don't think about it. But sometimes when I'm sitting there and I think about this too. And Des, I'm sorry that you went through what you went through there. I mean, that's, I know some people would say, well, thank God
thank God it wasn't loaded.
The gun, but you know what I say? I say, well, where the hell was God when he was grabbing the gun and putting it? Like, why could?
That's what I'm saying.
Like when people are like, man, I believe in God because I survived this plane crash. I'm like, well, then what? The plane? No, maybe if the plane didn't crash, that would have. Yeah. Anyway, I get that. I do. I don't have an answer. It's I mean, the thing with like divinity versus the non-divinity or whatever, I don't know. I'm not an expert on this stuff, but you look at, the golden rule, right? Treat others as you would like to be treated. Like, see the divine in others. There is a spark. There is something about life, call it humanity, the animals as well, plants, that resides in every person. Call it, again, like, call it the divine spark. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And then there are people, there's the other side of it that's like, look, there is nothing divine. We are the rulers of the roost. We are at the top of the pyramid, the superiority of man, right? Of mankind. Those are two totally different ways of looking at the world, right? It's hard to hold both of those things. Like, I am the master of the universe, or I am one of many, and there is divinity in all things. It's,
or the whole concept that we are all one and that division is, an illusion.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like just pure consciousness. I mean, being conscious, being like pure conscience, like
we are all connected.
Awareness.
Like, we're all part of the whole.
One.
Is that, yeah?
We're one.
We're all we're the atom, right? The whole universe is an atom inside of another, whatever,
Are you talking about like the what's his name? Donald Sutherland. What if we're
right
like on the
tip? I'm just saying, I don't know.
Fucking needle, and like that's the.
I see. Look, when we get off, and I'll put some in here, but look at some of these images coming back. I mean, you thought the Hubble Space Telescope was crazy. They took pictures of stuff with Webb that they had already taken pictures of with Hubble 20 years ago, and the clarity is bananas. I mean, you just look at these images, and it's like, what in the hell is out there? Like, what? And then you start getting into the fact that we actually have the technology where we're almost there. We will have it in the next, probably in our lifetimes, another one of these telescopes that will actually be able to see an image of the Big Bang. Like, that's how far back, because the pictures that you're looking at
back in time.
Well, that's the thing. Time's relative, right? So basically, this thing is picking up images in parts of the universe that are 13.5 billion light years away. So that image on that you're looking at, that light
in the future.
Yeah, that light, you're looking at something that's 13.5 billion years ago that it happened. Those stars are probably gone by now, but we're just seeing the light. It's freaky, man. It's pretty freaky.
So, Mike, if I may, because I really like the questions that you were asking, and I think a good way to end this episode is to be talking about what we're grateful for. And I'll let you guys all go first because
because you got to think of something.
I'm grateful for Zeus's misery. It always brings a smile to my face.
I know, and that's why I go through it for you.
Thank you.
So,
that's harsh.
Mike, what are you grateful for?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it's my family more than anything. I was married when I was younger. My wife died, and I ended up, the woman I'm married to now, my second wife. I'd known her for a long time, but with just my life since then, with her and with my kid, I'm grateful every day, like very thankful.
All right, for me,
thought of something.
I can tell you what you should be grateful for if you need help.
No, like, I'm grateful for my attitude. Like, I think Jason, Mike, Jack, Des will all attest to I'm not gonna call it trauma because that's like so fucking lame, but like, I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for the prospects that are on the horizon. I'm still moving forward. I don't allow myself to fall back so bad that I like spiral. But I mean, I'm grateful for the attitude. I don't know if I got it from my parents or it's genetic, but I'm grateful for the attitude that I have towards life. Like, it's just difficult. You got to fucking deal or you die. Life's a shit sandwich. Yeah,
You gotta eat it.
Hopefully you have more bread. Hopefully you have more bread than you have shit. But basically, you got to eat or you're going to die. And for me, like, my attitude is what I'm grateful for, is that I can persevere through the things that are causing me trouble and move forward. So for me, it's I guess
yourself. You're grateful for yourself.
Resilience.
Wonderful.
No, my intestinal fortitude.
Resilience. Yeah.
If Jason wants to turn it into an insult, then fine. But
is it? But Zeus, and I gotta ask because I've seen you embrace joy as well. So you do admit that there's amazing things about life, right?
Dude, every time that Max says some completely inane but completely profound thing, I'm like, wow. This is why I'm here. I'm here to guide him through that. I don't know how good it is that I'm guiding children through life, but so far it's been pretty good. He's a great kid. Don't
worry, the state is going to take over soon.
Yeah. Oh man.
Anyway, let's not get into what I hope for you is shorter. But that's what I'm grateful for my resilience. And hopefully things will pan out and things will be well. But until then,
just have some faith, man.
Yeah, I got it. I got some tons of faith. Everybody in this group knows how much fucking ridiculously stupid faith I have, but I'm going to stick to it because there's got to be a reason. You know?
Yeah.
Mike, and if not, you'll just die.
Oh, that would be great too.
It'll be all a big nothing.
All right. A big black space in my mind. That's fine too. With an ass face because I missed and got stuck with that. Mike, what about you? What are you grateful for? Are you already answered?
Yeah, I already answered.
What about you?
The number one thing that comes to is, it's cliche, but it's my wife. She just,
yeah, man.
I don't deserve her at all. Oh my goodness.
We were talking about that before you came on tonight, actually.
It's like I sometimes feel the greatest amount of shame that, like, I really should not have her. Like, really don't deserve this.
Yeah. So just a little inside baseball is every once in a while. So Jason and I have this thing whenever he calls and I call, we go, "Hi, Daddy." And it's just our dumb thing. And now she's gotten involved in it. She's like off the boat Japanese. And she'll go, "Hi, Daddy." And doesn't sound anything like Jason going, "Hi, Mommy." And she is so much better than you deserve. If that's what you're getting at, Jason.
Yep. Yep.
Dana, what do you have to be thankful for?
I count my gratitudes regularly throughout the day, every day, and I often cry out of gratitude. And that's happened to me within the past several years. Just this overwhelming emotional response to moments where it really hits. And, I've seen it in just mainly my health and the health of the people that I love. Physical, mental, emotional, psychological, safety, predictability, just in that realm. It's just, I'm so grateful for that, because without health, there is nothing else.
Yeah.
Like absolutely nothing else.
Absolutely. Jack, what about you?
I kind of mentioned some of mine earlier, but like I said, I'm grateful for the people I love, in my life, and I'm lucky that they love me back. I'm grateful to be alive simply and to have the things that I'm able to have to sustain myself because like I said before, none of us are entitled to anything. We're born into the family and the location and even like the dogma we're raised with. We're born into that. It's, there's no control that we have over it any more than any physical features or issues that you have. So I'm grateful that I'm healthy. Like Dana said, health is everything. And for the health of my family and friends. I mean, it as you go through your day, like I don't constantly say grace. I'm not grateful for every meal.
How could you?
You know what I mean? I forget the utilities that I have that a lot of people don't. But in terms of like the big picture things, like the love that I have in my life and my own health, those are the big ones for me. And sometimes you have to remind yourself of those. I mean, even though that
Yeah.
sounds crazy, but you do. So hopefully people, use that practice. Like poor Zeus right now, he needs to have those gratitudes like etched on a pillow.
Dude, I'm honestly not that like down. Like Jason, Mike, I've talked to, Desiree, I've talked to. You know,
No, Zeus. I mean,
what are we gonna
you
do?
already
What are you gonna do? You're gonna bitch about shit
right. Well,
all the time, or are you
that's the
gonna
whole.
just fucking persevere?
No, that's the point of the gratitudes, and I was just busting your chops. That's all.
No, that's fine. By the way, Jason, at the end of, or Jack, at the end of the show, I need to ask you a question that I've been meant to ask, and then I know the answer already, but anyway.
Okay.
What about you, Desiree? What do you?
Well, I'm grateful for, all the cliche things, my family, all the things, my husband, actually a lot for him because there's not a lot of people that can put up my shit.
Dude, he's beast. He's a great
So
guy.
I don't even know how that happened, but it happened. There's a match for everyone, I guess, or maybe it's a yin and a yang match. I'm not really sure.
He's a good guy.
But I really, and like, this is funny that we're talking about like, whatever.
Existential.
Yes. Spirituality and stuff, because this is what I'm about to say is going to sound very spiritual, but it's not. It literally is face value. Like, I'm just grateful to be alive, like, and just live every day, because I mean, like I shared earlier, I had that experience, and plus, like, I go to work and I see a lot of people die, and I see people that die for and they shouldn't have, and I see people that
I gotta ask, why are you killing so many people?
Well, you mean people that you said people that should not be
people that should have died and didn't, and people that should not have died and did, like, and they're all different, lots of different ages, lots of people that have never smoked a cigarette in their life but have fucking lung cancer and died of it, people who have never whatever it may be. Like, I'm just,
there's an arbitrariness.
Life can end literally at any second, and you don't know. You never know.
It really is.
You're lucky if you get to know, but not always. So I'm really grateful that to wake up every day.
Yeah, and Dana, you'll back this up. There really is something to nursing. Like, we can bust my chops, whatever, but there is this like aspect to it where you like see aspects of society that are like so depressing and so heartbreaking, and it really is. As a nurse, Dana, we're maybe just made for it, and I do believe that, like, where we just deal with shit that other people like catastrophize and make so much more of it. And I'm not saying that it's not important to those people, and it's not even that it's not important to us, but we become used to these horrible aspects of life, and that actually kind of wraps things back around Mike's whole thesis to the show is that, like, man, it's like, it's so complex. Like Jason said at the beginning, this is like a 9-hour episode and we're going to knock it out in like an hour and a half. Like, we could talk about all this stuff on so many more levels, and we wouldn't even touch like how deep this like cosmic connection between everything is. But anyway,
and I think, I mean, one thing too, just from listening to everybody, but just, you know, it's so it can be so easy to really be there for somebody else, and to do something that is very important to someone else, and you may not even think about it. I mean, I remember driving, this was after my wife died, and I'm like on the road, and I'm like looking at these, and I'm feeling like shit, and I'm looking at these other cars, which before, when I was driving by in traffic, I'm like, fucking cars in my way, you know, going through traffic. And then I started realizing, I'm like, holy shit, that dude over there, his dog just got run over, maybe. This guy over here, his kid died, or this person over here just went back. Like, you have no idea what other people are dealing with at any time that you're interacting with. And it just doesn't take much. And it's, again, there is a gratitude of being able to help other people, having other people help you when you need it,
and just not being in their mind space, just you being the one,
just being present,
completely fucking unhinged and able to take in a couple cohesive thoughts and put them together and help the other person.
So the Cleveland Clinic put this video out, and I don't even know the title of it, but it's like a 3-minute video, and it's just that. It's like, it's basically explaining, you don't know, other people's shoes, how you
is that
don't
the
know
video where they're walking through the hospital?
Yes, Dana. Yes, it is.
I want to see.
Yes.
What is it? It's Cleveland
it's
Clinic.
What's it called? It's by the Cleveland Clinic. What's it called?
Can I get it on YouTube?
Yeah, dude, it's on YouTube.
Yeah,
Hold on, look it up. Hold on.
We're gonna put it.
We'll put it at the end of the video.
Pause real fast. Hold on.
What is the video?
A man's walking through a hospital and just looking at other strangers, and then like these like words pop up around those people, like he just lost his wife. This person
it's called empathy, the human connection to patient care.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a great video.
It's a good, and it puts things into a lot of perspective.
It's
perspective.
Facts. Yeah.
Perspective.
Mm-hmm. Perspective is so much a part of what we talked about tonight. Like religion really isn't even.
That's what I was saying. That
it's like how you take in what you take in, and how you.
Yeah, if organized religion that works for you, great. If whatever, I mean, that's what I mean. It was less for me about religion, capital R, church, than
religion was created in society to create order, and if that creates that for you,
fantastic.
Then it's okay, fine.
It's like being a Republican or a Democrat. You're a religious or not religious. Like it's so.
I mean, sometimes you want to draw a picture of Jesus. Sometimes you want to draw a picture of Muhammad.
No, you can't.
Oh, darn.
You fucking devil.
Hold on, you can't draw a picture of Jesus, or you can't draw it of Muhammad.
Muhammad. There's
it really
still these
depends
rules.
on the country.
Yeah, there's still a lot of rules, man. It's very easy.
You still can't do it. You still can't have a picture of Muhammad.
I don't think so. I don't want to find out, man.
Yeah, let's just drop it.
Okay.
So, Jack, are there any words that you would say at this point in an episode?
Roughly.
What? Wait,
you need to wrap it up.
Wait, you mean like fatwa?
Like fatwa. Yes, like
no, we've definitely been on for a while, and I think it's time we probably wrap things up. We're not going to solve all these issues tonight, Mike.
No, we could definitely do another episode with this if Jason will come on.
I gotta just wrap it up right now.
Signing off.
Aloha. Aloha.